Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Good mornings to all of you. So, yesterday we have completed the last part of our work measurement chapters. So, just today we'll take the revision and then we'll go to the chapter number 5. That is the facility, locations, and plant layout, which is actually expected while starting any industry. We required these facility locations and the plant layout. But before that, just revision of chapter number 4, work measurements. So, what is actually work measurements? Last times we have gone to the definition of this work measurement. It is nothing but technique to establish the times required for qualified worker to carry out the specific job at definite level of performance. Means work measurement, it is nothing but the time, standard times need to set by using the experienced skilled workers at definite level of performance. Like this definition is there's work measurement. And why there is a need of work measurement? Because in industry, while making any product or doing any type of works, we actually require time, because on that basis uh, we're going to pay the amount to that workers. If the work measurement is not there, there is a problems about how much rupees will going to pay. It is difficulty for cost estimation of the product, and ultimately it is effect on the profit. Selling price also, it is very critical to decide. So many things are there. So in every industry, work measurement is there, means how much time is required for particular jobs. So here's while calculating the times already, we have gone through this standard times calculation. Very simple concept is there in the standard times. First, we have to observe the work. Suppose one job machining is going on. With the help of your watch, you can observe this, decide the performance rating, go for multiplication of observed times into performance rating, and in that normally we can add two types of allowance, that is the personal allowance and contingency allowance, and you will get the standard time. So once you set the standard times, accordingly we can decide the incentive system, decide the wages system, salary also we can decide. So many things we can do with the help of work measure. So just I will go to the revision of chapter number 4, and then we'll go to the chapter number 5. So here is the definitions, work measurements. It is the set the standard times while doing any job at definite level of performance. This is the definition. Standard times, it is defined as the time taken by average experienced worker for the job. So here's standard times means what is actually exactly time requires to the average experienced person having average skill. So this is the standard times. Then what are the objective of work measurement? So reveal the existence of ineffective times, if any. Suppose in industry downtime is there, ineffective time is there, we can get it exposed, set the standard times for doing the jobs, for specific jobs, applications where we can make use of these work measurements to evaluate the worker's performance by comparing his output with standard performance. Standard performance, let us we consider 100%, and with this performance we can compare with other performance maybe 80%, 90%. or sometimes it is more than 100. So these things actually we required. Then work measurements, optimum use of man, material and machinery. Then capacity of the workforce and machinery. This for this purpose also we can make use of this. To compare the work methods for economical part, this is very important. While setting the new method, we have to set that new method as per the economical status. Also, we can decide the wage or incentive bonus system, or we can set the production planning and controls. So this is the application of the work measurement. Work measurement, it is widely used where work or part work is repetitive. Mass production is there, repetitive same work is there. Example, continuous uh, production like sugar industry is there, automobile industry, continuous assembly is going on, forging industry, the continuous process is going on. Here we can use this work measurement. Now, three general criteria are there for measurable jobs. Work should be identified in terms of number of units produced by the worker. How many units that worker will get produced. Worker should be performed in a reasonable consistency manner. Means constant effort should be there. Volume of the work should be justified to perform the study and keeping record. So whatever production will be there, having certain justifications of the same. And basic procedures for work measurement. So very simple. Everywhere for work measurement, work or time study, work sampling. Same point is there. Select the job. How we going to select the job? Where the problem is there, bottlenecks is there, more time is wasting, less production is there, cost estimated is more. So such a product you have to consider for work measurement. Now record what is actually going in the shop floors means existing methods recording you have to do. Existing methods may be forging, then the blanking, piercing, extrusions. So many manufacturing processes are there. What is exactly going on that you have to study. Then exam. Exams means you can ask the questions to you. The first is what is the purpose of this? Then what is the actually sequence of this? Where where we can do this work? By whom this work will do? And what is actually output of this? By asking such type of questions, five types of question actually it is expected to ask. First is the words purpose, then place, then sequence, then persons and means. So with help of these 5 points, you can ask questions, go for critical examination, and after that you can go for the installation and feedback and measuring the same thing. Then technique of work measurement. So work measurement techniques. There are several techniques used for estimation of standard times in industry. First is time study. Means with help of stopwatch, directly we can make use of the times for work measurement. And work sampling, this is the statistical concept. We can make use for calculation of the standard time. Then standard time data method means previous standard data method is there. We can make use of that. Predetermined motion time system means whatever basic motions are there, human body having certain basic motions. So we can assign or already we have decided the time for particular motion. Just like yesterday, I have given one examples to tighten a nut in the machine body. So first of all, we can reach to the bean, our hand will reach to the beans to collect that nut. Means reaching is the one of the motions. So we can decide the time for this. After that, grasping, we can decide the time. After that, we can move towards the machines. We can decide the times. After that, we can positions, means locations. And after sun, get up and put up, like this will be there. So this is a predetermined motion time systems. And the same data we can use for features. This is the history set actually we required when repetitive work is there. So these are the techniques. So almost 5 techniques we can use in industry. Time study, uh, directly stopwatch, cumulative or flyback stopwatch we can use here. Work sampling, continuous production is there. We can go for certain sampling. On basis of that sampling, we can go for measurement. Standard data methods means already standard data with us. Means for transportation, this much time is required. For completing this time, particular job, this standard time is there. We can make use of that history for this. Predetermined motion time standard means basic whatever motions are there, reach, grasp, move, position, tighten. This all basic motions time is required and it has been decided, and we can make utilization of the same time for further work. Time study is the most versatile and most widely used in technique for work measurement. It is used to estimate the time to be allowed to qualified and well-trained workers. That worker should be qualified and experienced at normal space to complete the specified task by using specified method. Specific methods, for example, forming processes there, making washers, blanking and piercing. This is a specific method. And specified task means to operate that press tool. This is the specified task, and the workers having certain experience. So we have to measure the time for this. Worker having experience, qualified, and doing the job on the machines, and the method is the same. We can make use of this time. So here light problem is there. We can wait for this. मोबाइल चालू है ना, ये रिकॉर्डिंग बंद होना है, रिकॉर्डिंग चालू है ना. So revision part is there. Your PPT you are not able to see because of the light problems. So here time study part is there. So we can use the directly methods of different types of watches, and then we can go for times, then work sampling. After this, we have gone through the different types of allowances while calculating the standard times. It is audible, no? My sound is audible. I'm talking through my mobiles. Hello, hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay, but you can bear certain times because light is not there. It is not possible to show the PPT, but our revision lecture is there. So just I will go for revisions. Once light will come, then we'll go to chapter number 5. So let us consider the different types of allowances here. So first allowance, what is actually allowance? Allowance means the certain times that we can allow to the workers to fulfill these different types of problems or needs. For example, personal allowance here, sir. we required certain times to the workers to fulfill his personal needs, maybe lunch times, maybe his uh, personal problems. We can allow certain times. So this is called personal allowance. Then the second is the process allowance. While making that process, so in that process, two, three machines are there, and in these two, three machines, one machines will get breakdowns because of some problems. So in order to make the repair and put into the regular production, certain time is required. So we can allow such times, that is called personal allowance. Means unexpected delay in the machining. So that is the process allowance. Then next is the contingency allowance. Contingency allowance means unexpected things will happen in future, just like power off. Some jobs time will required for inspections. Sometimes the light problem is there. Now here it is light problems. We can make use of contingency allowance. So whenever the unexpected things are there while doing any jobs, because of that production will get stopped. That is called contingency allowance. Then special allowance is there. While machining, sometimes the tool will get wears. Sometimes we require little bit maintenance, cleaning. So this is the actually special allowance. And last allowance is that is the policy allowance. So this allowance is given according to the policy of the management. It is not included for calculating standard times. One thing you have to remember that policy allowance, special allowance, process allowance, this type of allowances normally we can provide in the calculation of standard times. But uh, many times it has been observed that the whatever the allowance decided by the management, that is called policy allowance, this allowance will not be added in the standard time. Sometimes questions will be there, which allowance is not added while calculating standard times. So your answer is policy allowance, because it is in hands of management. So here's you have to remember these five types of allowance while calculating the standard times. First is the personal allowance. Second is the process allowance. The third is contingency allowance. Then special allowance, resetting or maintenance of the work while doing the special type of the work. Then policy allowance, it is actually depends upon the management, and we cannot go for uh, adding this policy allowance in calculation of the standard times. So after that, we have gone through the calculation of standard time. Simple method is there. Uh, Standard time calculation, simple method is there. Mm, First, we can go for observe times. Means one job is going on. So here you have to observe the times required to complete the jobs by two types of watches. One is cumulative and fly back watches. So you have to calculate uh, the normal or basic times. Now, how to calculate normal or basic time? Observed times into performance rating. The performance rating, it is depends upon the experience of the person, qualification and skill. So it has been decided as per the ILO, the common uh, performance rating supposed to be hundreds, and we can compare the others performance with this 100, sometimes be 80, 90, or sometimes it may be above 100. So observed times into performance rating, it is in percentage divided by hundreds. You will get the normals or basic times. And after this normal or basic time, in percentage of this, we can calculate the uh, which allowance, personal allowance, maybe 5%. 5% of basic time means basic time into 5 divided by hundreds. Similarly, we can calculate the contingency allowance. Suppose it is 10%, means basic time into 10 divided by hundreds. So these two allowance we can add into basic or normal times. You will get the standard times. Okay. Now light has come, so I will see the PPT. Okay. So this is about the standard times calculations, and after this we have gone through the work sampling. So work sampling, uh, work sampling. So here's whenever repetitive work, mass production is there, then we can take certain samples, and over these samples we can go for a work measurement. So yesterday we have seen the formula, that is N, that is equal to 4 1 minus P divided by AP. P is the activity in the percentage, then the A is the accuracy, limit of accuracy, and C is the competency level. So yesterday two problems we have solved, and after this in the end of the chapters we have gone through the predetermined motion time systems. So that is called PMTS. So PMTS is the work measurement technique whereby times established by basic human motions are used to build up the time for jobs at definite level of performance. Few well-known concepts are there. So here we have measurements, work factors, motion times analysis, basic motion times. Yesterday we have seen these three times measurements. So this is the most important method times measurements technique used under the predetermined motion time standards. Here we have to consider certain basic motion. Yesterday I have given examples. If you want to tight any screw to the machine, first of all our hand will move. This is the one of the motions. It will reach to the bean of that nut, then next it will come back, that is the movement. After that, grasp positions that nut, get it tight, or sometimes release this. So each motions we can decide the times, and in that times we can add certain allowance. You will get the standard times calculations. Okay, but while measurements in these method times measurements, one unit you have to remember, that is TMU. So what is that one? Time measurement unit. TMU means time measurement unit. So this is equal to 1 TMU. This is equal to 0.006 minutes. By using this, we can calculate the time required for this particular basic motions. Now, this methods times measurements having certain advantages over the others work measurement technique. Time standard of jobs can be arrived without going to the place of work. Means any times if you want to decide, it is not necessary to go to the workplace where the job is going on. This is the advantages of these methods. Alternative methods are compared easily. Now one method is going on, alternative methods, if it is there, we can compares with this. It will helps in tool and product designs. Then estimate accuracy assessed with stopwatch time study. Accuracy will be more if we use the stopwatch thing. But over this advantage, certain limitation is there. This methods times measurements can deal only with the manual motion of an operation. Means here manual motion of operations only it has been considered in PMTS, predetermined motions time standard. Very simple thing is that how to remember this predetermined a predetermined motion time standard. Very simple. Each motions we have to decide the time. How? By camera, by video. And in that, whatever the basic motions are there, reach, move, grass, okay, then gate and tight this, assembly, disassembly. So whatever basic motions of our bodies are there, that has been observed, and the time it has been decided by using the unit TMU times measurements in it. 1 TMU, this is equal to 0.0006. So predetermined motion time standard means assign the times for basic motions and make use of TMU standards. If possible, you can add their allowances, then you will get the accurate measurement. So this is the revision of work measurements. What is work measurement? What is the objective of work measurement? What are the technique of the work measurements? Okay, then we have gone through the different types of allowance, calculation of the standard times. Okay, after this we can go through the work sampling, and at last we have gone through the PMTS. So this is the point actually it is expected to remember in the work measurement. Which is the importance from the industrial point of view. Calculation of standard times, this is nowadays very important from the industrial point of view. So very simple formula. Uh, you have to remember, many times I repeated same because of you will have to remember these things. That's why I am repeating standard times. Just I will read this formula. Standard times, this is equal to observed times into performance rating plus allowances. So you will get the standard time. So observed times into performance rating, if you do this thing, then it is called normal times or basic time. And in that you can add the allowances. Okay. And these allowances always be in percentage of normal or basic time. So you can remember the five types of allowances, but out of five, only personal and contingency allowance, it has been added in the standard times calculations. Okay. And work sampling, this is statistical things. Yesterday we have solved two problems. You can make use of that formula. N, that is equal to 4 in bracket 1 minus P divided by AP. So here P is the percentage activity, A is the limit of accuracy. So modify formula, and N is the number of observations. So we can make use of the work sample. This is the statistic technique. Okay. So this is about the work measurements. Fourth chapter is over. Now fifth chapters. So as per our syllabus, fifth chapters, that is the facility location and plant layout. So this is the fifth chapter, facility location and plant layout. So what is actually plant locations? Maybe urban location factor is there, factors affecting site selections. So this much PPT we're going to see in these chapters. Okay. So let us we'll go from the first part, the locations and plant layout. So fifth chapters. Now, when you will going to start your own industry, what actually the locations you will going to select? Which point actually it is expected to be considered while selecting the place for starting the industry? And once you selected that place, then inside that industry, which type of layout is there? Layout means the sequence of operation accordingly machine has been installed. So Here, facility location, why this is important from the industrial point of view? Because uh, ultimately the production cost, it is depends upon the materials, then machines and overhead cost. Overhead cost means non-productive cost. Materials means raw material required this, and manufacturing facility, what actually we required in manufacturing, machine and man. So whenever machine and mans are there, raw material is there. Overhead means non-productive cost, just like transportation, office, the natural resources, waters, etc. It comes under the overheads. Now, if we add the cost of these materials, manufacturing cost and overhead cost, it will become the total cost of that product. And if we add certain profit over this cost, then it will become selling price. Okay. So ultimately, what we are expecting while setting or while doing the some industrial work, profit. In order to get the profit in each type of product, maybe automobile product, maybe agricultural product, maybe pharmaceutical product, maybe food product, maybe paper product. So many products are there. So ultimately, the profit, it is depends upon the raw materials. Okay. After that, manufacturing facility, after this overheads. So where actually you will get the raw materials in bulk. For example, paper mills are there. Papers, how we are making papers from? Papers we can make from the wood. Is it correct? So where we can get these woods? Near to jungles. So here's the our paper mill should be nearer to that jungles, or if you are manufacturing sugars, where we can set our sugar industry, where the availability of sugar cane is there. Because if sugar cane in our area and factory in the certain uh, uh, the big city, then transportation cost will be increased. So many things are there, water problems and light problems, like this thing will be there. So while selecting the locations from for the industry, you can consider the materials, natural sources, maybe airs, then water, etc. Then manufacturing facility. If machines are there, but we require the manpowers to operate that machine easily, it is expected to get the manpowers as per the cost of the productions. And after that overhead means after making that papers, we will have to send to city areas or some other places. We require transportation, means there should be transportation facility. Easily we can send this material. By considering all these 3 points, we have to go for the plant location. Now if we will not consider these 3 points, what will happen? These man materials and the machines and overheads. If these points, if we are not considered while selecting the location, what will happen? Production cost will get increased. Production cost will increase. Then ultimately, every industrialist, they are adding certain profit, maybe 50%, 20% in the production cost. Then it will become selling price. So if we increase the total production cost, definitely, by adding the profit, the selling price will get increased. And once the selling price will get increased, there may be in the market other competitors are there. So then the more sell uh, will be there, the that competitors as compared to us. So it is expected to every industrialist to reduce the production cost, so that we can add the specified profit, and we, whatever the price you will get, same price will face the different competitors in the market. So that's why here we require uh, the location where actually we want to set the industry. Examples already I have given. Sugar cane should be in the area of where the sugar canes are there. Paper mills should be near to jungles or inside the jungle because raw material is available there. Correct. Then the automobile industry must be nearer to the where actually we are getting the raw material, iron, steel, etc. Correct. So here it is very easy and availability of the raw material is very easy. In that place normally we can go for selecting location of the industry. So all this it has been classified into different types of factors, but major factors are there. Tangibles and intangible factors are there. So what is difference between tangibles and intangible factors? These parts we'll going to see. Then if we select the any sites, maybe nearer to urban or rurals. Correct. What is actually selecting the locations in urban area while starting industry? What are the advantages and disadvantages? If you select the site in a rural area, what is the advantages and disadvantages? So you can consider the advantages and disadvantages in the rural area as well as in the urban area. But nowadays, if you start any industry in the rural area, you will get the subsidy also. Okay. By considering the subsidy, the raw material availability, facility of transportations, manpower, it is actually expected, skill and semi-skill. Then and then it is possible to set the industry in rural area. If you go in urban area, definitely so many problems will be there. You will get highly skilled worker, but there is problem of the high scale is required. Means we have to pay more money in the urban area as compared to rural area. Then living standards, it is goods in the urban area as compared to rural area. Urban area, we have get available of various type of transportation facility, but here different types of duties we need to pay, but in rural area we don't have such type of duty. So like these advantages and disadvantages we have to study, and depends upon the production cost. Ultimately you will have to take the decision, either we can go for factory in the rural area or urban area. And once you will going to select the locations, then inside this industry different types of layout are there: product layout and process layout. So product layout, process layout, then fixed layout, group layout is there. So here's four types of layout. Layout means arrangement of the machinery as per the our requirement. For example, sugar industry, this continuous production is there, mass production is there. Here always you have to set the process of manufacturing as per the product requirement. So this is the product layout. Process layout means in manufacturing different process are there. For example, drilling is the one of the process. Turning, facing, knurling, this is one process. Milling is second process. So you can make the group of the layout as per the process, and we can complete our job. Means according to the process of manufacturing we can make the layout, and according the product requirement whatever layout we will make, that is the product layout. The next is the fixed layout, means some big products are there, just like shipbuilding is there, aeroplane is there. Here we cannot move the product because it is so heavy. So we cannot move from one place to next place every time for doing the certain operation over this. Here, product will remain fixed, and manufacturing facility we can move around this product. So this is called fixed. Then next is the group layout, means grouping certain machine at one place. For example, different types of die casting units are there. We can group together. Different types of ejection molding machines are there, group together. The compression moldings are there, we can group together. So laser technology parts are there, EDMs, wire cuts, so many machines are there. We can group together, and there we can go for manufacturing and take out the product. Means group of the technology. CNC, VMC means this is the one group. Then wire cut, EDMs and wire cut, laser. This is the second group. The common lathe machines, this is third group. So we can group the technology, and through these groups we can manufacture the product. Okay, so this is the actually things we're going to see in these chapters, and at last we will going to see the selection of the material handling equipment. In industry, after the raw material, next part is there the material handling equipments. After material, next cost related unit is the material handling. So if you go for manually, definitely cost will be more, worker will get fatigue, the less uh, material will get transport from one place to the next place, and it is costly because the more downtimes will be there, more wastage of the time is there. So you can select the optimum material handling system so that idle times we can reduce, the production cost will get reduced, productions will get increased, and ultimately productivity will get increased. So selection of the material handling equipment, it is depends upon you. One example, say if you go in sugar industry, in order to handle this sugar cane, uh, we require the conveyors. So once we dump that sugar cane from tractor to the that uh, dumping unit of the sugar cane, there is a conveyor that is called cane carriage conveyor. So once that cane sugar cane will dump over the conveyor, then this conveyor will move to the crushing unit. Means that sugar cane will move to the crushing unit. The crushing unit sugar canes will get crushed, and after that, juice will go to the one side, maybe right side if you go in that direction, and then left side the bagasse will be there. So this bagasse will go to the open place through the one of the conveyor, that is bagasse carrier conveyor, and juice will goes to that boiler unit. So like this process is there. Once the bagasse will get dry, the same bagasse will return to the boiler as a fuels. And there is one conveyor. So this is called return bagasse carrier. So this bagasse will help to boiler as a fuel. And once the part of the processing of sugars will get over, then we can make use of the bucket elevator just to increase the flowability of sugars. And once the flowability of sugars will get over, then we can get it fills in the bags, sugar bags. And after that, these bags will send to the uh, sugar store unit is there through the stacker conveyor. So at least 5 to 6 conveyor it has been used in sugar industry. This is the continuous production unit. Whenever continuous production unit is there, always you have to use the conveyors. Okay. So here we cannot use the mans, we cannot use the crane or any lifting cranes or sliding cranes or any truck, etc. Okay. So here, whenever continuous production is there, we can use this type of conveyor systems. And whenever batch type of production is there, then we can use the truck, lifters, overhead cranes like this. Okay, so this is about the core concept of chapter number 5. Okay, so what in short, what we will going to study in the chapter number 5, where we can locate our industry, maybe urban or rural. If you go in rural, advantages, disadvantages. If you go in urban, advantages, disadvantages. After that, inside this industry, which type of layout is there? Product, process, fixed or group layout is there, and ultimately the material handling. So once again, I will repeat which points will going to consider under this plant location or facility locations. So first thing, where we can locate our industry, urban or rural. Then inside this type of layout, product, process, fixed and group. And at last, selection of the material handling system or the same unit. So this much we're going to see in these chapters. So let us we'll go step by step in the plant locations. The location, which is considered of all factors affecting the product delivered to the customer, cost of product to be manufactured, will offer to the enterprises and greatest advantages obtained by virtually of location. So here's a location, it will affect on the product cost. This is the meaning of this sentence. Selection of location is the key decision as large investment is made in building plant and machinery, because the decision making, it is the one of the things while locating industry. If you locate the industry at right place, definitely the all type of cost will get reduced. Purpose of location study is to find an optimum location, one that will result in the greatest advance to that. So many advantages will get to that. Ultimately, profit will be more. Okay. So while selecting the plant layout, importance of the location facility carried out in three stages. First is selection of general territory, second is selection of community, and third stage selection of specific site. So here's three facility or three stages are there. We can go one by one. Location decision are important and require management carefully attention several reasons. So competition, cost, and indirect benefits. So these 3 points, it is very important in these stages. Competition means we have to face the competition, because if product cost is more than our competitors, then whatever locations we have selected may be wrong, because unnecessary increasing the production cost. The cost per unit, that is also important. Indirect benefits, maybe taxes, different types of tax. In a rural area you are getting subsidy, but if you go in urban area there is a tax. This is the indirectly benefit for this. Location factors, in generally location factors are grouped into market related factors. Location of demands and competitions, means where easily you will get market demand will be get it, means market related point, it is also most important while selecting the location. Then after this, two types of factors are there: tangible factors and intangible factors. Tangibles means just we can touch, direct the involves in the manufacturing. Intangibles means supporting to the product, not touching to the actually manufacturing, but indirectly helping these factors. So tangible cost factor, labors. Labor, without labors we cannot do. Materials, raw material, environmental factors. Okay. Then transportation facility, then different types of cost and taxes. So this is the tangibly means actually involves in the production. This is the tangible factor, not involve but indirectly helping to the production. These are the intangible factors. Legal aspect, environmental fact, then climate conditions, school, hospital, traditional facility, community attitudes. See that sometimes intangible factors are there. Suppose we are using different types of workers, but to get the benefit to the worker, different type of school facility or the community, the market for purchasing, etc. All these factors actually indirectly helping to the worker, and worker is helping to the industry. So, if we set in a factory in the rural area, normally the workers will face the problems, problem about school, problem about hospitals, then retail purchasing. Okay, so because of this, sometimes this worker would not like to work in this rural area, because in urban area school is there, hospital is there, easily everything you will get. So they will prefer to live in the um, urban area. So these intangible factors uh, actually affect on the location of the uh, site. Okay. So in which factors in the urbans and rurals, this difference I have given here. So here 12 factors are there. Urban location and rurals means if you want to locate your industry in urban area, if you want to locate your industry in rural area, market point of view, labor point of view, cost and availability of land. Land, it is actually importance while locating industry. If you go in urban area, definitely land cost is more as compared to rural area. Transportation facility, if you go to the urbans easily, but as compared to this urbans, rural, there is a problem. Communications facility, maybe nowadays through our mobiles we are easily communicate in rural area also, but before 10 years back there was certain problem regarding the communication. Municipal and other civils, the amenities means taxes, then pollution controls. Normally it is very important in the urban areas compared to labors. Labor turnovers, union activity, more chances in the urban areas. Community service like school, hospital, cost of living, and storage facility. So this 12 point, it is important while selecting the place for industry location. So let us step by step we'll go for each factors while selecting any industry. First, you can think about this market. So as compared to rural, easily the market will get available in the urban area as compared to rural area. So local demand is high, so less distribution and transportation cost. If you select our location of the industry in urban, the local demand is high, so less distribution is there and less transportation cost. If we select in urban location, then these two costs, distribution cost and transportation cost, will reduce because local demand is high. But if you go in rural location, from the marketing point of view, market far away, which increase the distribution and transportation cost. So if we consider the market is the one of the points for location of the industry, uh, in rural area there is a problem of distribution and transportation. So transportation and distribution cost is more. But here in the city area, this transportations and the distribution cost is very less because the local demand is there. So this is the first point from the marketing point of view. Then second, labors, adequate availability of skilled labors. If you go in the city area or urban area, definitely more availability of workers will be there and they having a more skill. But in rural area, difficult to get the skilled labor. You will get labor, but there is less skill. Such situation will be there. So prefer the urban area from the labor point of view. If you require skilled labors, definitely you can go to the urban area as compared to rural area. Then cost and availability of land. Cost of land will be high and difficult to get land for future expansion. If you go in urban area, just like bigger city, Mumbai, Pune, Nagpur, like this, land cost is more and there is too difficulty for expansion of that industry. But if you go in the rural area, adequate land will be available and the cost of this land is low as compared to urban area. So this is the third point, cost and availability of land. If you go in urban area, definitely this cost will be more as compared to rural. Then transport facility easily you will get in the urban area as compared to the rural area. Communication facility, availability of good communication network, communication facility are not available. Presently, we are using our mobiles, the email, etc. Presently, these factors will not affect that much as compared to 10 years back. Communication facility. Now they used to send their letter to the post or the transport like this. But nowadays, because of this mobile system, this point number fifth will not affect that much while selecting the site in the urban or rural area. Then municipals and other civilians acts are there. In urban locations, municipal corporation tax is there, but in rural area, such tax will not be there. Pollution control, strictly measures are to be taken to control the pollution. In city area, pollutions that is the biggest problem, and it has been strictly prohibited. But if you go in the rural area, lower effort are required to control the pollution measures. Okay, so this is the seventh point in this. Then after that, eighth point, higher labor turnover due to better opportunity in the vicinity of area and lower labor turnover means the labor cost means how much amount we going to pay for that labor, that is the higher in the urban location as compared to lower. So higher amount we will have to pay to the laborers in the urban area as compared to rural area. Then union activities. So higher union activity result in strikes. If you go in the city or urban area, more possibility to get the strikes as compared to rural area. Then community service. Better community service you will get in the city area. School is there, hospital is there, and either and any other facility easily available in the uh, urban area. But such facility you will not get in rural area. Cost of living in urban area that is high as compared to rural area. And last one, storage facility, adequate storage facility, including cold storage. You will get easily warehouses, storage facility are not available. But nowadays, the warehouses and storage facilities are made available in the rural area also. So while selecting the any site, you can remember these 12 points: market point of view, urban and location, labor point of view, cost availability of land, I think third numbers. This is the problem for urban area. Otherwise, transportation, labor, market you will get easily. Communication also will get easily. Municipal corporations, some act or some tax that will affect in the urban area. Pollution, this is actually strictly in the city areas compared to the rural area. The more money we have to pay to the workers as compared to rural area, union activity, more possibility to get the strikes in the uh, this urban area. Then community service will be better in the urban areas compared to rural area, and storage facilities also will be there. So, except 2 3 points, it is better to select in urban location. Which 2 3 point land problem is there and labor cost is there. So, except 2 3 points, uh, all other points, it is better to select the industry in the urban area. But if these 2 3 costs are more, then you will go to the rural area. So land problem is there. So the many skilled workers requirement is there. Then we will go to the rural area. So I think our time is worse. Next lecture, once again, I will repeat this and then we'll go to the next point. Thank you once again to all of you. We'll stop here. Thank you.